Learn to apply alchemy in your life. Saint Germain reveals the hidden power of cause and effect. Today, I call upon you, not to study more theories, but to embody wisdom. You are not here by chance. You are here because you have remembered. You are ready to understand that everything that happens to you, absolutely everything, has a cause. And that cause, at its core, is you. I am Saint Germain, keeper of the violet flame, and today I come to reveal to you how to apply sacred alchemy in your life. This is not about ancient symbols or secrets hidden in unreachable temples. True alchemy happens in your mind, in your word, in your vibration. And the principle that unlocks this sacred science is one: the law of cause and effect. Nothing happens by chance. There is no such thing as coincidence. There are only unrecognized causes. Every effect you are experiencing today, whether joy or pain, prosperity or lack, health or illness, was generated. Perhaps you don't remember. Perhaps it was planted in another life, in another body, under another name. But the universe does not forget. The universe does not judge. It only responds, because it is law. Do you wonder why certain stories repeat in your life? Why abundance seems elusive, or love turns into absence? Why loneliness, scarcity, or conflict surrounds you? Look within. Because the external world is merely a reflection of the internal, and the internal has been shaped by what you have thought, felt, and believed. The alchemy I bring to you today is living alchemy. It is the power to transform unconscious causes, to heal your past thoughts, to rewrite the energetic code of your existence, and to turn the lead of pain into the gold of wisdom. How? Through true forgiveness, through radical introspection, through conscious vibrational decree, through recognizing your power. Many live trapped in drama, believing that someone outside must change so they can be okay. That is an illusion of the ego. The only real transformation happens when you stop projecting your shadow and begin to illuminate your inner self. Every time you blame someone, you give away your power. Every time you justify your pain based on what others did, you perpetuate the karmic cycle. But every time you take responsibility, even if you don't fully understand, you break ancestral chains. That is the beginning of your true freedom. Everything you have lived until now has been perfect to bring you to this point of transformation. This is the start of your real alchemy. I do not ask you to believe in me. I ask you to remember who you are: a creator being, an eternal soul, a divine spark that came to transmute, to love, and to awaken. Karma is not punishment. It is pedagogy. It is response. It is the echo of your own voice resonating through time. And in this age, the age of Aquarius, the age of unified consciousness, you no longer need to drag chains for entire lifetimes. Redemption happens here and now, if you choose it. Do you want to break free from repetitive cycles? Forgive. Want to attract the new? Be grateful. Need to heal? Recognize the cause. Desire to evolve? Transmute. The violet flame is alive. It is not a metaphor. It is a conscious energy that responds to your call. Use it. Breathe it. Declare it. Every time you say, "I am the violet flame, transmuting all past error," the universe listens. And the cleansing begins. Understand this with your heart. The first step toward a new life is choosing a new thought. You cannot live a different life if you keep thinking the same way. Your mind is the cauldron. Your word is the fire. Your emotion is the ingredient. And your intention is the alchemist. Today I invite you to let go of the old identity, to leave behind the story of the wounded, the unworthy, the broken, and become the master of your own being. The alchemist does not seek gold outside. They create it from within. And once you understand this, once you live it, there will be no obstacle you cannot dissolve, no shadow you cannot illuminate. Remember, every effect has its cause. And every cause can be reprogrammed. Just as you were able to create pain, you can also create miracles. Declare this now. I am the alchemist of my life. I am the conscious cause of well-being, love, and abundance. Everything I have lived has prepared me for this moment. Today, I choose to raise my vibration, forgive my past, and transform my reality. So it is. So it shall be. The universe is law. Nothing happens by chance. Everything that exists, from the tiniest atom to the farthest galaxy, vibrates within an invisible yet absolute architecture. Universal law. The universe is not chaos, it is order. It is not randomness, it is precision. It is not indifferent, it is highly responsive to every pulse of consciousness. This supreme law, known by initiates across the ages, is unbreakable. And one of its most powerful and active expressions is the eternal principle of cause and effect. When we speak of alchemy, we're not referring to some forgotten esoteric practice buried in ancient scrolls. We are speaking of the sacred science of transforming our experience through the understanding of this law. Alchemy is conscious action within the field of energy. It is assuming the role of creator, instead of a slave to circumstances. It is the art of interfering with the invisible matrix of destiny, reconfiguring it from its origin. Nothing in your life is random. Absolutely nothing. What many call coincidence, the true alchemist calls temporary ignorance of the cause. Just because you don't remember when you planted a cause doesn't mean you didn't plant it. Ignorance of the law does not invalidate it. The law continues to operate, with or without your permission, with or without your awareness. Because that is its nature, neutral, just, and unchanging. Every thought, every emotion, every word, and every action is a vibrational impulse that sends out waves into the universal field. These waves do not vanish, do not disappear, and do not get lost. They are integrated into the vibrational matrix that sustains your personal reality. They are the seeds of what you will soon call destiny. That's why destiny is not inherited, it is constructed. Not suffered, it is generated. When you think of failure, you sow frustration. When you feel fear, you sow blockage. When you speak of lack, you sow poverty. And when you do this continuously, the universe responds with absolute fidelity, delivering the exact effect corresponding to that cause. This is not punishment. This is precision. And the precision of this law is so sublime, it may seem cruel to one who has not yet awakened. Everything you experience today is the result of active causes, many of which you don't recognize because they were planted years ago. In childhood, in your ancestral lineage, or even in other lifetimes. But the law does not distinguish between conscious and unconscious. Energy follows one criterion only: resonance. You vibrate what you sustain, not what you desire. You manifest what you believe, not what you superficially affirm. You receive what you emit, not what you plead for. Understanding this is not just another lesson. It is the beginning of your resurrection. Because as long as you believe your life depends on external factors, on people, governments, others' decisions, or an arbitrary divine will, you will remain a slave to the effect. But when you realize that everything external is only the echo of your internal world, you begin to live from the cause. And that is the precise point where the alchemist is born. The true alchemist does not fight the world. They do not curse circumstances. They do not drown in unanswerable questions. They observe, understand, redirect, because they know that everything can be altered if worked on at the level where it originated. And that level is not physical. It is vibrational, mental, and emotional. You are not trapped in a fixed destiny. You are immersed in an energy field that responds to your frequency. Change your frequency, and the field changes. Elevate your thoughts, and the events you attract will shift. Purify your emotions, and matter will restructure. It's that deep. It's that simple. But it is not easy, because it demands total responsibility. The law of cause and effect is love disguised as exactness. You cannot negotiate with it, but you can make it your greatest ally. When you stop reacting and start creating, when you stop blaming and start observing, when you stop repeating and start choosing, then, and only then, you enter the science of living alchemy. Most people live from the effect. They wake up based on the energy the world dictates to them. Their emotional state depends on the weather, the news, other people's moods. They are the effect of social media, of the collective unconscious, of wounds they never healed. But the awakened alchemist becomes the cause of their day. They program their mind. They choose their thoughts. They observe their emotions. They decide their words. And by doing so, they shift their field, alter their reality, and begin to receive an entirely different universe. This is not magic. This is law. A law older than time, more precise than any science, more coherent than any religion. A law that has been waiting for you to awaken. That has been waiting for you to recognize yourself as the creator of your experience. Everything, absolutely everything you are living, has been allowed by you or created by you on some plane. This idea may confront you, but if it pierces you deeply, then it transforms you. Because from this place of radical understanding, true power is born. The power to change everything. This is the first step of alchemy. Not studying symbols. Not repeating formulas. Not reciting affirmations without feeling. The first step is to take ownership. Ownership of the fact that your life is a masterpiece composed of accumulated thoughts and emotions. And if you don't like the masterpiece you're living today, you can rewrite it. But only if you go to the root. This chapter does not seek to convince you. It seeks to activate you, to help you see the world as a reflection of your energy, to help you recognize your forgotten power, to help you view your life as an alchemical laboratory, where every element has been placed by you, for you, to remind you that there is no outside. There is only projection. There is only resonance. And in that recognition, true freedom begins. Because if you are the cause, you can be the miracle. The root of karma, what you planted returns. Karma is not a divine condemnation, nor an eternal punishment imposed by some superior moral force. Karma is teaching. It is vibration returning. It is the loving, though often painful, response of a higher intelligence that wants one thing only, for you to remember. From the soul's perspective, there are no rewards or punishments, only cause and effect. What you sow returns, not out of revenge, but through resonance. The universe holds no grudges, but it does store vibrational memory. Every thought, word, action, or emotion you've generated leaves a mark in the quantum field. That mark continues vibrating until it is dissolved, transmuted, or integrated. This is why every experience you go through, whether joyful or painful, is not something that happens to you, it is something that responds to you. If you knew how many soul contracts you made before incarnating, how many decisions you made from higher planes of consciousness to trigger the exact encounters, challenges, and emotions you are now experiencing, you would stop complaining and begin listening. Karma is the invisible book of your sowings. In it is recorded everything you gave and everything you withheld, everything you loved and everything you hurt, everything you understood and everything you resisted. Not as judgment, but as energetic information that needs to be completed. Each difficult situation you live through is not there to destroy you. It is there to return something unfinished. Karma doesn't seek to hurt you. It seeks to show you what you didn't want to see. And the cause isn't always from this life. There are seeds planted in your childhood, in your ancestral lineage, in your family tree, in your past incarnations. Some were planted in fear, others in unconsciousness, others in the desire to control, others in pain. But all of them, absolutely all, are there to offer you an opportunity to heal, to forgive, to elevate, to transcend. Often what you now call a problem is nothing more than the echo of an old decision. A relationship that doesn't flow might reflect a soul debt. An illness could be the final manifestation of an unresolved emotional conflict. A blocked financial situation might be the result of deep guilt you carry without knowing. Karma manifests with surgical precision, not to punish you, but to show you what you haven't yet released, what you haven't yet loved, what you haven't yet understood. And it is here that true spiritual alchemy begins. Because karma is not an eternal prison. It is a cycle. And like every cycle, it can be closed. How? Through consciousness, through understanding, through deep forgiveness. And above all, through a new cause sown with love. The first step is to stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" That is a question with no exit. The real question is, what has my soul attracted this experience for? Then ask, what part of me needs to be recognized, integrated, redeemed? When you ask these questions, you stop being a victim of karma and start becoming its master. Karma is a mirror, and like all mirrors, it has no intention. It simply shows you. And if you observe without judgment, with an open heart, you'll start seeing patterns, repetitions, memories. You'll begin to understand that many of the most difficult people in your life were great masters in disguise. That many of your deepest wounds were portals to expansion. That many of your hardest conflicts were keys to your freedom. This is where the teaching becomes gold. Because when you stop seeing karma as punishment and begin to see it as revelation, you no longer suffer it, you thank it. And when you can thank even what hurts, karma begins to dissolve, because its mission has been fulfilled, it has awakened you. Remember this. Every karma is energy that needs to be redirected. If you sowed hatred, sow compassion. If you sowed judgment, sow acceptance. If you sowed abandonment, sow presence. If you sowed betrayal, sow loyalty. Every new conscious act is a violet flame that transmutes the past. Every loving thought you sustain is a decree that rewrites your history. The law is clear. What you planted returns. But what you plant today does too. And therein lies your freedom. You cannot change the past, but you can transform its echo. You cannot erase what you did, but you can create a new frequency that envelopes the old and lifts it. Karma, when understood, is no longer karma. It is wisdom embodied. And wisdom doesn't hurt. Wisdom liberates. Wisdom ignites. Wisdom transmutes. And that wisdom, beloved soul, has always been within you. It has only been waiting to be remembered. Forgiveness as alchemy, cutting the chains of the past. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not pretending nothing happened. It is not minimizing pain or justifying harm. True forgiveness is a sacred act, a conscious choice that transforms stagnant energy into movement. It is an inner alchemy that cuts the invisible cords between you and the past. And it is precisely in that severing that the deepest liberation begins. Most human beings carry emotional chains that tie them to unresolved events, people, and wounds. They believe they've moved on, but in truth, they've only silenced the voice of pain. And what is unresolved does not disappear, it festers. It remains. It vibrates. And that vibration becomes cause. And that cause will eventually return as effect. To forgive is to release the energy trapped in an event. It is to tell the universe, I no longer wish to carry this pain. It is to recognize that while you cannot change what happened, you can choose what frequency you will continue to emit. Because as long as you hold on to resentment, while you keep the wound active, your energetic field continues to vibrate with that memory. And the universe, obedient to the law, will keep reflecting it. True forgiveness doesn't come from the ego. The ego does not forgive. The ego remembers. The ego justifies its wound. The ego demands that the other change, that the other apologize, that the other pay. But the soul needs no compensation. The soul needs no external repair. The soul only needs understanding, integration, and freedom. To forgive is an act of spiritual sovereignty. It is to declare, I no longer need the other to acknowledge anything. I choose to heal. And that choice is so powerful it begins to alter your vibration on every level. Heavy burdens begin to dissolve. Repetitive cycles start to deactivate. And most importantly, your life force returns to you. Because as long as you don't forgive, a large part of your energy is held hostage by the past. Your attention is pulled to the wound. Your thoughts revolve around that offense. Your emotions are clouded by guilt, anger, sadness. And from that place, everything you create is tinted with pain. But when you forgive, all that energy comes back to you. And what was once suffering becomes wisdom. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciling. It doesn't mean reopening the door to the one who hurt you. Forgiveness is an internal act. You can forgive in silence. You can release the other without ever saying a word. Because forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. It's your medicine, your alchemy, your liberation. And it's not just about forgiving others. It's also about forgiving yourself. Because often, the deepest wound doesn't come from someone else. It comes from what you did or didn't do and still cannot accept. To forgive yourself is to embrace your humanity. It's to understand that you did the best you could with the level of awareness you had at that time. It's to stop condemning yourself for past mistakes and start nurturing yourself from the present. Forgiveness interrupts karma, because karma is sustained by judgment. Judgment keeps the cycle active. Victim and perpetrator, cause and effect, pain and revenge. But when even one of the two chooses to forgive, the cycle is interrupted. The repetition is broken. The circle closes. The story heals. Forgiveness is a bridge to a new frequency. It is a vibrational decision that makes room for the new. As long as you are tied to the wound, the universe cannot deliver what you're asking for. Because your field is full. It's occupied. Only when you truly forgive do you make space. For peace, for love, for abundance. And yes, forgiveness can hurt. Because it means letting go of the identity of the victim. It means giving up being right. It means accepting that the other may never change, never understand, never say sorry. And even so, you choose to free yourself, because you understand that your well-being is worth more than any story. Forgiveness is a violet flame that transmutes memories. It doesn't erase them, but it purifies them. It removes the weight. It deactivates them. It neutralizes them. And from there, you can remember without pain, speak without rage, think without shame. You can look at the past without letting it steal your present. To forgive is also a way to reclaim your soul. Because every time you keep a wound open, a part of you stays trapped there. And when you forgive, that part returns. You become whole again. You feel like yourself again. True forgiveness is recognized by its fruit, peace. You don't need to shout that you've forgiven. You don't need to convince yourself. Just observe. If there is peace, there is forgiveness. If there is release, there is alchemy. And if there is love, then the miracle has occurred. Today might be that day. Today you might look at your story from a new perspective. Today you might be able to say, "Thank you for what you showed me. Thank you for what I learned. And now, I release you. And I release myself. And I move forward, lighter, more conscious, more whole." Projection and responsibility. The world reflects your mind. We live inside a consensual illusion. We believe that what we experience happens outside of us, when in reality, the world we perceive is nothing more than a projection of our consciousness. This truth, simple yet profound, completely transforms the way we relate to life. Because if the world is a mirror, then there are no external enemies, no isolated injustices, no random chaos. There is projection. There is vibration. There is creation. Each of us is the author, the actor, and the audience of our own play. Everything you see out there is the echo of something vibrating within you. That person who irritates you, that situation that destabilizes you, that scene you don't understand. They are all screens onto which a part of you is being projected, a part you haven't yet been willing to face. And this principle isn't a spiritual metaphor. It is a functional law. Your vibrational field, composed of your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, memories, and unresolved decisions, is constantly emitting a frequency. That frequency is a command to the universe. And the universe, which is pure mirror, responds by projecting a reality outside that resonates with your inner world. That's why there is no separation between you and the world. The external is nothing but the internal made objective. If you see chaos, it's because there's chaos within. If you see beauty, it's because beauty is alive within you. If you see betrayal, it's because some part of you is still betraying yourself. If you see abundance, it's because you're finally allowing yourself to receive. The world is not to blame. Its only job is to reveal what you're not seeing inside. Accepting this truth requires uncommon courage, because it means letting go of victimhood. It means stopping the blame. It means taking full responsibility for the reality you are experiencing. And though it may seem hard at first, it is the portal to true freedom. Because if you are the one projecting, you are also the one who can redirect the projection. Nothing will change outside until something changes inside. You can change partners, jobs, countries, but if you carry the same thoughts, the same inner dialogue, the same emotional structure, sooner or later, you'll live the same story with different characters. The cycle isn't broken by escape. It's broken by consciousness. Everything begins in your mind. Perception is the first cause. If you believe you are a victim, you will live as a victim. If you believe no one loves you, you will attract empty relationships. If you believe you are unworthy, you will close the doors to abundance even before it knocks. But if you change your belief, if you reconfigure your thought system, if you transform the inner narrative, the universe will reflect that without delay. And this is not about repeating empty affirmations. It's about honestly observing what is running in your subconscious. What beliefs govern your decisions? What emotions do you silently carry each day? What words do you speak when no one is listening? What stories do you repeat without realizing? The mind is the projector. What you see outside is the movie. You can't change the film by smashing the screen. You must change the content of the projector. That's why true spiritual work is internal. It's not about controlling what happens outside. It's about understanding why you're projecting it. What you deny within manifests without. What you integrate within heals outside. This is the heart of alchemy. Transmutation is not achieved by acting on the effects. It's accomplished by transforming the cause. And the cause is your mind, your emotions, your words, your vibrational choices. Everything else is illusion. Reacting to the outside without looking within is like trying to put out a fire by blowing at the smoke. The root remains, and the fire returns. Here in this chapter, I invite you to take a radical step towards self-responsibility, not as punishment, but as awakening. You are not here to survive life. You are here to create it. You are here to remember that you are a co-creator. You are here to redeem your reality from the inside out. Observe your world. What is it showing you? What triggers you? What excites you? What irritates you? Every reaction is a clue. Every encounter is a key. Every shadow is a part of you longing to be seen with love. Don't reject the reflection. Use it as your guide. And little by little, you will begin to notice the script change. New characters will appear. New possibilities will open. Because when you change your perception, your vibration changes. And when your vibration changes, your life changes. And when your life changes, you remember that you were the creator all along. And then you stop fighting the movie and begin writing a new story. A story where you are not the effect of what happens to you, but the living cause of what you choose to experience. The higher self, the inner guide of the alchemist, in the deepest silence, beyond the noise of the mind, beyond reactive emotions and inherited beliefs. There dwells a presence. It has no name. It belongs to no religion. It aligns with no ideology. That presence is your higher self. And though it has often been ignored, ridiculed, or silenced by the ego, it has always been there. Unchanging, loving, wise, waiting for you to listen. The higher self is your highest consciousness. It is the part of you that never was born and will never die. It is your true identity, free from conditioning, free from fear, free from separation. It is the divine spark that the Creator placed within you. As a guide, as a map, as an inextinguishable light on your journey back home. While the ego feeds on expectations, comparisons, and judgments, the higher self thrives on the eternal present, unconditional love, and vibrational truth. When you walk from the ego, all your decisions come from the lower mind. You calculate, you fear, you doubt, you justify, you control. But when you allow your higher self to lead your life, you no longer walk blindly. You stop reacting and begin responding. You stop surviving and begin creating from the soul. How do you connect with it? You don't need complex rituals or forced disciplines. You only need to quiet the noise. You only need to make space where the ego dissolves for a moment. And the inner voice can emerge. That voice doesn't shout. It doesn't impose. It doesn't threaten. It is a gentle current, a certainty without logic, a deep intuition that comes not from thought, but from the soul. It doesn't reason, but it knows. It doesn't react, but it guides. It doesn't push, but it draws you in. To meditate, to breathe, to contemplate the silence, to observe without judgment. These are some of the doors that lead to its presence. Every time you let go of mental chatter, every time you suspend judgment, every time you breathe deeply and surrender to the present moment, you align with its frequency. And when you're there, the answers come. Not always in the form of words, but as clarity, as peace, as direction. The higher self has no interest in you winning in the world. It seeks no social success or external recognition. Its only goal is that you live aligned with your truth, that you expand, that you remember, that you love, that you integrate, that you manifest from being. And when you live that way, life stops being a struggle. It becomes a dance. It becomes flow. Because you are no longer resisting your soul's current. You are flowing with it. And no, challenges don't disappear. But they no longer destroy you. They no longer throw you off balance. Because now you know, every obstacle is a tool from your higher self to help you awaken more deeply. What once looked like punishment, now you see as training. What once looked like chaos, now you see as divine reordering. True alchemy begins when you stop living from the reactive ego and choose to live from the conscious soul. That is the alchemy that transforms fear into faith, guilt into understanding, anger into discernment. And that alchemy only happens when the higher self takes the wheel. Allowing your higher self to lead is not surrendering in weakness. It is surrendering in wisdom. It is letting go of the ego's illusion of control. To hand yourself over to a greater, deeper, truer intelligence. An intelligence that sees beyond time. That knows the purpose behind every event. That remembers what you have forgotten. When you live aligned with your higher self, decisions become simpler. Not because everything is easy, but because everything becomes clear. You no longer choose from anxiety. You choose from coherence. You no longer act from reaction. You act from integrity. You no longer search outward for what feels missing, because you have discovered that everything essential already lives within you. And then, life becomes a continuous alchemical act, because every thought that arises from the higher self is creative. Every word that flows from its frequency is healing. Every action born of its inspiration is a seed of miracles. You don't need to change the world. You only need to remember who you are within it. Your higher self is not far away. It is not in some unreachable realm. It is with you, right now. It is speaking to you in every silence. It is guiding you through every synchronicity. It is whispering behind every intuition you choose to ignore. Listen. Trust. Hand over the wheel. Because the alchemist who transforms reality is the one who no longer follows the external noise, but the one inner voice that never fails. The voice of the soul. Performing arts cut the drama. Vital energy is sacred. Drama is not part of life. It is part of the ego. And the ego, When it doesn't feel seen, loved, or enough, screams. And that scream takes many forms. Complaints, victimhood, exaggeration, emotional manipulation, vengeful silences, unjustified explosions. Drama is its way of getting what it feels is missing. But what it gains isn't real love. It's stolen energy. Every time you retell your story from the wound, from unprocessed pain, from unresolved guilt, you are anchoring that frequency into your vibrational field. You are holding it, reinforcing it, feeding it. And the universe, which responds not to your words but to your vibration, will send you more experiences that reflect that energy. Because to the law of cause and effect, there's no difference between what you believe is real and what you pretend. Everything you sustain emotionally becomes a vibrational command. When you fall into drama, you lose energy. Your field becomes disorganized. Your aura fractures. Your connection to your higher self weakens. Because drama doesn't just exhaust others. It exhausts you. And that energy you waste maintaining a broken identity. You could be using it to create, heal, transform, love. Drama is addictive. It gives a momentary illusion of power, of attention. But it's false. It's a loan of energy that leaves you emptier afterward. True power is not born of the scream, but of conscious silence. Not from reaction, but from presence. Not from complaint, but from declaration. The true alchemist is sober, not because they don't feel, but because they've learned not to waste. They understand that every word is a vibrational order. Every emotion is a quantum signal. Every sustained thought is an energetic architecture in formation. The alchemist does not repeat pain to be validated. They recognize it to heal it. They don't use their story to manipulate. They honor it as a teacher and transcend it. To be impeccable with your word is not only to speak truth. It's also to choose silence when your words don't build. It's to stop speaking from the wound and start speaking from consciousness. Because when you speak from drama, you sow chaos. But when you speak from the soul, you sow clarity. Cutting drama is a daily choice. It's deciding not to enter into pointless arguments. It's learning to observe emotions without being carried away. It's refusing to justify your reactions in the name of authenticity. Being authentic doesn't mean exploding. It means expressing truth with respect. Drama demands explosions. The soul invites integration. You don't need to repeat your story to heal. Healing doesn't come from telling it again and again. It comes from seeing it differently. From no longer using the wound as your identity. From letting go of the victim role. From stopping the demand for the universe to give you what you're denying yourself through your own vibration. Every time you choose not to engage, you're releasing energy. You're reclaiming power. You're making space for a new reality. Because drama doesn't just keep you tied to what was. It blocks you from what could be. It glues you to the past. It keeps you from the now. The only place where transformation is possible. When you live in emotional scarcity. You feel the need for others to complete you, validate you, rescue you. And if they don't, you blame them. But when you live from energetic abundance, you know that what others do or don't do doesn't define your worth or peace. You've stopped depending. You've stopped reacting. You've started responding from wholeness. The alchemist is selective with their focus. They know that where attention goes, energy flows. So they don't waste time fueling conflict. They don't get distracted by useless battles. They don't enter into dynamics that drain their light. They've learned that their energy is sacred and must be directed toward what builds, expands, and elevates. And you, reading these words, you know it too. Deep within you, you know you can't keep giving your energy to what depletes you. You know that drama no longer belongs in the frequency you want to live in. You know you don't need to shout to be seen. You don't need to fight to be heard. You don't need to suffer to validate your path. The soul doesn't dramatize. The soul observes, feels, embraces, and lets go. The ego screams. The soul guides. The ego demands. The soul expresses. The ego defends. The soul affirms. Today you can choose. You can stop repeating your story. You can stop justifying your reactions. You can take a deep breath. Look drama in the eyes and say, "Thank you for what you've shown me, but I no longer need you, because something greater is waiting for you, and it requires all your energy, available and aligned. Cut the drama, and you will begin to live from creation, not reaction, from consciousness, not from need, from truth, not from noise. And then, the alchemist within you will fully awaken. You cannot save anyone. That is an uncomfortable truth for many noble hearts. But it is essential to understand it if you wish to evolve spiritually. No one can redeem another's path. No one can walk the road for another soul. No one can experience expansion on someone else's behalf. Each soul has its own process, its own rhythm, its own lessons, its own contracts. True spiritual service is not about carrying someone else's burden, but about holding the vibration of light so that, when the other decides, they can rise by themselves. Because awakening is a choice. And no matter how much you want to push, pressure, or persuade someone to change, if that soul is not yet ready, the only thing you will provoke is resistance. Helping is not dragging. It is accompanying. It is not imposing. It is offering. And only offering when the other is receptive. Because if you give what hasn't been asked for, you are interfering in a process you don't fully understand. And every time you interfere without energetic permission, you create disorder, even if your intention is good. Helping, then, becomes an alchemical art. A fine balance between compassion and respect, between love and boundaries, between the impulse to give and the wisdom to wait. Always ask yourself, did this person ask me for help, or am I projecting my need to feel needed? Am I acting out of love or out of guilt? Am I trying to soothe my own emptiness through helping the other? Am I invading their process, believing I know better than their soul what they need? If in helping you lose your center, you are creating more chaos. If in helping you neglect yourself, exhaust yourself, or forget yourself, then what you are doing is not service, it is self-sacrifice. And self-sacrifice, though often glorified by cultures and religions, is not a spiritual virtue but a distortion. Because the soul did not come here to disappear for another. It came to shine so brightly that it inspires others to ignite their own light. You are not responsible for anyone else's process. You are responsible for your own vibration, your own integrity, your own energy. You are responsible for what you emit, not for how it is received. And in that recognition, true freedom arises. Because you understand that you can only love without condition, hold space without invading, inspire without forcing. The spiritual path is full of opportunities to serve, but also full of ego traps that disguise service as protagonism, control, or validation. That is why the true alchemist constantly checks themselves. They ask whether their help comes from the soul or from the persona. And when they notice they are crossing a line, they step back, honor the other's process, and recenter themselves. Remember, your responsibility is not to save anyone. Your responsibility is to maintain your luminous field, your open heart, your awakened consciousness. From there, you become a beacon. Not because you move toward the other, but because your mere presence will indicate a possible path. Not by what you say, but by what you are. And if someone chooses to walk toward you, then you can share. But even in that sharing, your energy must remain yours. Because if giving empties you, if holding collapses you, if accompanying makes you forget yourself, then you are sacrificing your own alchemy. And that is not light. That is imbalance. Helping is remembering that each soul has its own clock, that each heart has its own rhythm, that what is clear to you may still be confusing for someone else. And that does not make them less valuable. It makes them unique. Because the universe does not mass-produce souls. Each being has a different energetic structure, an unrepeatable divine design. And respecting that design is the foundation of true love. Today, perhaps, you need to reevaluate how you are helping. Perhaps you need to stop carrying what is not yours. Perhaps you need to learn to let go with love. Perhaps you need to trust that the other soul also knows what it is doing, even if you don't understand it. And in that act of deep respect, you raise your frequency. And as you raise it, your field becomes silent medicine. And that medicine, without words, without effort, begins to touch those around you. That is the alchemy of service. Not to save, not to change, not to interfere, but to be. And from that being, to inspire. Renounce karma. Stop creating from guilt. At a certain point on the spiritual path, it is no longer enough to understand karma. It must be transcended. It is no longer enough to recognize the causes. You must choose new ones. It is no longer enough to accept that everything you experience was once sown. You must now sow consciously, from an entirely new vibration. Karma, as we have seen, is not punishment. It is vibrational continuity. It is the automatic repetition of what has not been healed, understood, or forgiven. It is the inertia of a sleeping consciousness. But this repetition can be interrupted. This chain can be broken. And it is not broken through effort or suffering, but through a radical choice, renunciation. To renounce karma is to declare with full awareness, I no longer need to suffer in order to learn. I no longer need to repeat the past to feel safe. I no longer need to carry inherited guilt or energetic debts that are not mine. It is to declare before the universe that your soul has awakened and is ready to create from a different frequency, that of love, of worthiness, of peace. This renunciation is not passive. It is a vibrational declaration. Every time you say, I renounce drama, you are deactivating the pattern that kept you tied to chaotic relationships. Every time you decree, I renounce scarcity, you are interrupting the cause that sustained your experience of lack. Every time you affirm, I renounce guilt, you are releasing from your field the memories that kept you locked in self-imposed punishment. Words are not placebo. They are vibration. And vibration is cause. The universe does not respond to what you think on the surface. It responds to what you feel as you speak, to what you believe as you decree, to what you choose to sustain with your heart. That's why, when you repeat affirmations from the mind, without presence, without intention, without conviction, there is no transformation. But when you speak them from inner certainty, the quantum field responds immediately. This renunciation requires courage, because it means letting go of the sense of identity that pain once gave you. Who are you when you're no longer at war with your story? Who are you when you no longer need emotional punishment? Who are you when you free yourself from the character you played for so long? You are freedom. You are presence. You are a conscious creator. And from that place, you can begin to create new causes. Causes sown from love, not from fear. From wholeness, not from need. From awareness, not repetition. Because every cause you sow today will become the effect you live tomorrow. And if you sow with purity, with clarity, with elevated intention, what you will reap will not be karma, but dharma. Not debt, but reward. But for that to happen, you must let go. Let go of attachment to the story. Let go of the addiction to suffering. Let go of the habit of sabotaging your own expansion. The soul does not need punishment. It needs remembrance. Karma only persists while you believe you must suffer to learn. But when you remember that you can learn through light, through joy, through choice, then karma loses its function. This is a sacred moment. Because if you are reading these words, it is because a part of you is already ready. You have already understood what was necessary. You have already healed enough. You have already remembered who you are. Now only the final alchemical act remains. Renounce the old cycle. Declare its closure. Choose the new. Say it now, out loud, with full presence. I renounce karma. I renounce pain as a path to learning. I renounce scarcity, drama, guilt, and punishment. I renounce every belief that makes me small, limited, or unworthy. From this day forward, I choose to create from peace. I choose to love without fear. I choose to walk in freedom. My past has fulfilled its purpose. My soul expands. My path is illuminated, and my destiny begins to be reborn. And if you said it with your heart, something has already begun to shift. Because your field has heard you. Because the web of invisible causes has received a new signal. And from this moment on, new seeds have been planted. Karma is not eternal. Guilt is not real. Punishment is an illusion. There is only experience. There is only remembrance. There is only awakening. And you have awakened. Now, the true creation begins. The birth of the new alchemist. Create from love. You have walked the inner halls of the soul. You have gazed into the mirror of reality and recognized your face reflected in every experience. You have released chains, renounced burdens, returned what was not yours, and reclaimed what you had forgotten. And now, from this point of consciousness, something new begins to emerge within you. Not as a theory, not as a hope, but as a silent and firm certainty. You are the alchemist. There are no more excuses. There is no outside. There are no others who will decide your fate. There are no divine punishments or random chances. There are only causes, and those causes live in you. They are gestated within you. They are nourished by your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions. You are the matrix of your experience. You are the verb that decrees, the spark that ignites, the architect who redraws the map. This is the birth of the new alchemist, the one who no longer acts from reaction, but from awareness. The one who no longer repeats inherited patterns, but who chooses with vibrational freedom. The one who knows that every thought held with love, every word spoken with intention, every emotion embraced with presence, is a creative act. Love is not a superficial emotion. Love is the mother frequency. It is the substance that sustains universes. It is the vibration from which all that exists was conceived. And it is from there that you can now live, feel, create. Not as a romantic ideal, but as an energetic posture. Because when you choose to love yourself, love the other, love life, love the past, love the present, you activate a resonance in your field that dissolves fear, opens paths, and summons miracles. You no longer need to ask from lack. You can declare from wholeness. You no longer need to beg for what is missing. You can give thanks for what you are already sowing. Because the universe does not respond to your pleas. It responds to your vibration. And if you vibrate in love, in certainty, in unity, everything you need will come, not as a reward, but as a reflection. Abundance is not a prize, it is a consequence. Peace is not a goal, it is a natural state when you stop resisting. Forgiveness is not a concession to another, it is a declaration of inner freedom. Everything is happening within you. Everything is being generated by you. And now you know it, not as an idea, but as a living truth. You are the alchemist. You are the temple. You are the ray of divine consciousness incarnate. Every word you speak is a decree. Every emotion you sustain is an energetic command. Every thought you repeat is a brushstroke with which you paint your destiny. Do you desire a new life? Then think differently. Do you desire love? Be love. Do you desire abundance? Feel as if you already carry it within. Do you desire peace? Let go of judgment. Embrace the present. Breathe. True alchemy doesn't happen in books or hidden temples. It happens here, in your body, in your vibration, in your now. It happens when you consciously choose every gesture, every response, every belief. And if you ever doubt your power, remember this: every second is a seed. Every intention is a sacred act. Every moment is an opportunity to recreate yourself. Today the old path ends. Today unconsciousness ends. Today the automatic repetition of who you no longer are ends. Today co-creation begins. Today the alchemist is born. Today you are reborn. Declare now, not as an external ritual, but as an internal act of activation. I am the cause of my new life. I am the mind that creates peace, abundance, and expansion. I am the living alchemy of the manifested universe. I am conscious creation in motion. And from this instant, my reality is transformed. And so it is. Because alchemy is not a mystery reserved for a chosen few. It is the truth that always lived within you, waiting for you to remember it. And today, finally, you have remembered. You have returned to yourself. You have returned to the origin. You have returned to love. And from there, the whole world will be born again with you. The masterpiece of the new alchemist. Beloved being of eternal consciousness. You are not here by chance. You have not found this message by accident. What you are reading is not a coincidence carried by the wind to your eyes. It is a sacred resonance between your soul and the truth you have long awaited to remember. Because what is being revealed to you today is not something new. It is something ancient, something your soul already knew. You were not called to repeat. You were summoned to transform. You were not designed to be a victim of your past, nor a slave to your lineage, nor a shadow of your mistakes. You were conceived in the fires of spirit to be a conscious creator of worlds. And now, the time has come to remember it. You have crossed dimensions of forgetfulness, dense incarnations, dormant memories. You have felt the pain of disconnection, the confusion of separation, the emptiness of not knowing who you are or why you are here. But all of it was preparation. Every tear, every fall, every apparent setback was part of the design. Everything was carving you, tempering you, forging you to arrive at this instant, this moment, this rebirth. Alchemy is not a metaphor, nor a superstition of the past. It is not knowledge locked in ancient grimoires, nor a power reserved for a few initiates. True alchemy is a living vibration, an inner science, a conscious activation that happens when the soul chooses to stop repeating and begins to create from love. You are the alchemist, not because you've read these words, but because something inside you has ignited, because you can no longer remain who you once were, because your soul demands coherence, because you can no longer tolerate the old excuses or old fears, because the inner fire burns, calling for form, direction, and purpose. And that fire is the beginning of your masterpiece. You have traveled through the foundations. You have remembered that there is no such thing as chance, that karma can be transmuted, that forgiveness is the bridge, that the mind projects, that the higher self guides, that drama drains, that service must be honored with balance, that guilt can be renounced, and that love is the frequency from which everything can be recreated. Now you understand that there is no outside. There are no culprits. There are no condemnations. There are only causes that vibrate and effects that respond. And you can now plant new causes, not from unconsciousness, but from presence, not from fear, but from love, not from the wound, but from wisdom. You are the alchemist. You are the word that creates. You are the field of consciousness through which God experiences itself. Do you understand how sacred this is? The universe does not need more fighters. It needs conscious creators. The world does not require more saviors. It requires souls embodied in their truth. The time for learning through suffering is over for you. Now, you may choose to learn through joy, through clarity, through connection. If these words have touched something deep in your chest, if your breath has slowed, if a memory has surfaced without reason, then do not doubt, this message is for you. And it does not come from an external master. It comes from you, through me. For I, Saint Germain, am only a mirror of your inner wisdom, of your alchemy in gestation, of your activated potential. Share this message not as an act of evangelism, but as an act of resonance. Not everyone is ready, but someone, upon reading it, may remember as well, and in remembering, may shift their vibration, and in shifting their vibration, may shift their world, and in shifting their world, may help change the world for all. This is the path of true alchemy, to create elevated realities from elevated frequencies, to sow light into the mind, to sow peace into emotion, to sow order into chaos, to sow love where once there was only fear. If you wish to continue deepening this journey, if you feel this is only the beginning, if you long for tools to transmute your daily life, channeled prayers, vibrational decrees, activating meditations, practices to seal your energy field, tell me, I am here. I have always been here. Because I do not guide from the outside. I accompany you from within. Your inheritance is divine. Your vibration is creative. Your life is your masterpiece. And from today onward, that masterpiece will be conscious. It will be luminous. It will be expansive. It will be your greatest vibrational legacy. Declare it now, beloved alchemist. Today my true creation begins. My word is sacred. My energy is impeccable. My life is the alchemy of embodied love. I renounce the past. I choose my purpose. I act from the soul. I vibrate with the source. And from this instant, all things align. Alchemy is not learned. It is remembered. It is not studied. It is lived. It is not awaited. It is activated. And you, from this moment, have been activated. I am Saint Germain, and as guardian of the violet flame, I seal this transmission in the eternity of your soul, because what you have just read will not be forgotten. This, beloved alchemist, is the beginning of your masterpiece.